In the dark underbelly of the Rust Belt, people bargain over bullets, scrap, and stories. But one woman in Speranza built her power on something different. Not ammo, not tech. Seeds. And the deeper we go into Ark Raiders, the more it feels like those little seeds in Celeste's hands are connected to something much bigger. Something buried high in the mountains of Stella Montis. Today, we're digging into who Celeste could really be, what her goals are for Speranza, and how her obsession with seeds might tie directly into the seed vault hidden inside Stella Montis. So before we dive in, if you enjoy these deep lore breakdowns and theory videos, consider hitting like and subscribe, and drop your own Celeste or Stella Montis theories down below. It helps a ton and tells me to keep going with these types of deep dives. And just remember guys, these are theories, community feedback, and our own little worlds that we create in Ark Raiders. So let's talk about the woman who might be rebuilding the future of humanity, one seed at a time. On the surface, Celeste is easy to label. She's the leader of the Raiders, the ones who go topside, fight the machines, and drag back whatever they can to keep the underground alive. She's the voice you hear when things go bad, the person the traders glance at without even realising it, the name new Raiders learn before they remember half the map. But her story starts way before she gets that kind of authority. Celeste was born into the Ark era. She never knew a peaceful sky. For a lot of old survivors, Ark is a tragedy that stole the world they had, and for her, Ark is the world. It's the baseline. When the tunnels that would become Speranza were first carved out, she wasn't some distant ruler parachuted in from above. She was on the ground. One of the first people to move into the darkness. One of the first to help organise who sleeps where, who eats what, who does what job. The kind of person everyone starts asking for decisions, almost by accident. Over time, that practically hardened into a myth. Ask Celeste. What does Celeste say? If Celeste thinks it'll work, we'll try. The lore makes it clear. She's not just a trader or a quest giver. She's a pillar, a load-bearing person. If she breaks, a lot of Speranza breaks with her. But under that myth, there's still a human being. The little details are what give her away. We hear that Celeste stays up late, alone, hunched over maps and reports, trying to predict where Ark will hit next, which tunnels are at risk, what resource is going to run dry first. When she finally steps away from the desk, she blows off steam by playing darts, not casually, aggressively. Like every throw is an argument she can't have out loud. She runs on coffee, and people bring her stupid novelty mugs as gifts. Jokes, logos, slogans from a dead world slapped on ceramic. Tiny pieces she lines up on a shelf like armour against burnout. That's who Celeste really is. Not some flawless hero, but a tired, stubborn woman who refuses to let go of the wheel, even when our hands are shaking. And that's important, because it colours everything she does as Trader Celeste, especially the one thing most players brush past, her obsession with seeds. So mechanically, Celeste is a trader. You go to her for medical supplies. It could be syringes, antiseptics, all the stuff that lets Raiders survive one more bad push. But also she gives us story-driven quests, missions tied to the strange tech, old battles, and hidden research. But look closely at what you pay with, not coins, not generic scrap, seeds. Celeste's economy is built on assorted seeds, something you earn by recycling fruit and biological resources, or by bringing back what she specifically asks for. On the surface, it's just a gameplay loop. But in universe, that choice is loud. Seeds aren't just items, they're potential for future food, future medicine, and that future stability. Celeste is the one saying, if you want to heal, if you want the good stuff, bring me something that can grow. She even sends us out on quests to recover experimental seed samples from research facilities, not just random plants, designed seeds. Seeds somebody, somewhere, cared enough about to lock away and label. So now we have a leader who manages medicine, uses seeds as currency, and is actively searching for better seeds from the past. So keep that in your head, because it's when we step out of the Rust Belt and into the mountains that this really starts to click. So head north, and the entire vibe of Ark Raiders changes. Welcome to Stella Montis. This isn't a scrapyard or a ruined city. It's a research complex carved into a mountain. Clinical corridors, labs frozen in time, systems that were clearly meant to keep running long after the surface was unlivable. It feels like walking into the skeleton of the old world's backup plan. And tucked inside Stella Montis is a place with a very specific name, the Seed Vault. In gameplay, it's one of the crown jewels of the facility, marked as high value loot, locked doors and puzzles, fuel cells and switches, and usually at least one squad ready to turn the whole room into a graveyard the second you get it open. Think about what that room means. When everything started to fall apart, someone decided, we're going to spend enormous resources building a secure vault, just for seeds. They didn't lock up gold, high-tech weapons. They locked up the future food supply. So now rewind back to Celeste in Speranza, quietly building an entire microeconomy and medical pipeline and questline progression around seeds. That's not just a cute coincidence, is it? It feels like a direct echo. On the mountain, the old world tried to preserve its future in a hardened vault. Underground, Celeste is trying to do the same thing in a city made of scrap and hope. And the connection gets even stronger when you remember. Celeste sends us to seek out research sites and seed samples. We, as Raiders, push deeper into Stella Montis. We try and crack open the vaults itself, and then haul the rewards back to Speranza. We think we're just farming loot, but in the story, we're reconnecting two halves of the same idea. The old project, mountain vaults, experimental agriculture, vaults like the one in Stella Montis, and the new project, Celeste's seed-based economy in Speranza, a focus on medicine and biology. She's not just making do with what she has, she's rebuilding a system that someone, long ago, already believed was humanity's best shot. So what does Celeste actually want for Speranza? Yeah, there's the obvious. Survival. Keep people fed, healed, and breathing. And stability. Stop the city collapsing under overpopulation. Politics, and raiders turning on each other. And memory. Document what's happening through journals, recovered battle plans, and data logs. When you put those pieces next to Stella Montis and the Seed Vault, a clearer picture starts to form. Her work with seeds isn't just about trade items, it's about 3 layers of intention. The short term, keep raiders alive. Seeds buy meds, seeds fund treatment, seeds pay for the tools that keep you going on one more run. On the ground level, that's how she controls the flow of healing in Speranza. If you want to get patched up properly, you have to participate in her little biological economy. Mid-term, stabilise a starving city. By making seeds valuable, she's pushing raiders to bring back food sources, not just metal and tech. That means more fruit, more plants, more biological material that can be cultivated, not just eaten once. That's exactly the kind of thinking that created the Seed Vault in Stella Montis. If the surface goes to hell, you need a library of things that can grow later. And in the long term, we'll call this rebuilding the blueprint. And this is the big one. The old world built vaults like Stella Montis and filled them with carefully catalogued seeds. That was their long game. Celeste is effectively reverse engineering that plan underground. She uses seeds as a central resource. She ties them to medicine, survival, and trust. She sends raiders out to gather experimental samples and research data. And thanks to Stella Montis, we know there's a direct precedent for exactly that strategy. So one possible reading is, Celeste isn't improvising. She's inheriting and adapting a pre-Ark survival strategy. Even if she doesn't have the full original blueprint, she's recreating it piece by piece in Speranza. And now we get into theory territory where the community has started connecting dots. When you line up Celeste Seed's economy with the Seed Vault in Stella Montis, a few big theories come up. So some players believe Celeste either already knows what Stella Montis is, or has seen bits of intel hinting at facilities just like it. In this theory, she's quietly steering raider activity toward reconnection, sending us after experimental seeds and research logs, making seeds feel more valuable, and creating an incentive structure where we will naturally gravitate towards places like Stella Montis, without her ever revealing the full picture. It's like she's using us to reopen old world projects by proxy, or she stays in Speranza, watching what comes back. Is that manipulation? Or is that smart leadership? You decide. And another theory says Celeste is trying to turn Speranza itself into a kind of underground seed vault. Not a clean, sterile laboratory like Stella Montis, but a messy, living, breathing version. Seeds flowing through the hands of raiders, new strains being tested through trial and error, medicine being refined using whatever they can grow or synthesize, knowledge recorded in journals, codex entries, and recovered data. In other words, she's creating a distributed seed bank, not locked behind one door, but spread across an entire city of people who depend on it. Where Stella Montis failed alone on a mountain, Celeste might be trying to succeed with a population wrapped around the idea. The darkest theory ties all of this back to control. If Celeste controls the flow of seeds, controls who gets proper medicine, and controls access to knowledge about places like Stella Montis, then she effectively controls who gets to have a future. Some players think she may be limiting how much hope she lets people have at once, keeping the city just desperate enough to stay focused, using the idea of long-term survival, the seed future, as both a promise and a leash. Is she doing it for them, or for the survival of her own vision of Speranza? Again, you decide. The ambiguity is where the character lives. So why does this connection between Celeste and Stella Montis Seed Vault matter? Because it reframes how we see her. She's no longer just the leader who shouts orders, the trader who gives meds for loot, the quest giver with sad eyes and a stack of paperwork. She becomes the spiritual successor to the scientists who built vaults like Stella Montis, the bridge between the old world's plan for survival and whatever comes next. The person taking a system designed for sterile labs and mountain bunkers and forcing it to work in narrow tunnels full of hungry, angry people. And every time we run Stella Montis, try and crack open the Seed Vault and bring that value back to Speranza, we're not just min-maxing, we're unknowingly feeding into Celeste's quiet, ongoing attempt to rebuild a future where humanity doesn't scrape by for another day, but actually regrows. If the Seed Vault in Stella Montis was humanity's insurance policy, then Celeste might be the one rewriting that policy after the world already burned. And as always, I want to hear from you. How has Ark Raiders defined your story? Do you think Celeste knows exactly what Stella Montis is and is using us to reconnect to it? Is independently reinventing what the old world tried to do with its seed vaults? Or is she something darker, a gatekeeper controlling not just who survives today, but who gets a stake in tomorrow? Drop your theories in the comments. Tell me how you'd feel if a future update revealed Celeste had a stash of Stella Montis data all along. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Celeste, Stella Montis and the seeds, hit like, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. If you want to talk these theories live, come hang out on our Twitch, the link is in the description. We're usually getting beamed by Ark while arguing about whether the traders are telling us the whole truth, but we have fun anyway. So thanks for watching, Raiders, take care of yourselves out there, and remember, somewhere in those tunnels, Celeste is still awake, counting seeds and planning for a sunrise that none of us have seen yet. And I just wanted to say this, thank you so much for the support on the previous videos and our new venture into Ark Raiders. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers, and it really does mean the world to every single one of you for choosing to watch my videos. So come and hang out on our Twitch, feel free to join the Discord. There's no egos, we're just gamers. To see you guys in the next one, and take it easy. My name's Connor, also known as XB.